Ow! It must be that time again. You know what time. The time to get amplified. Once again, Sasha Banks degrades Bianca Belair to rookie status, then proceeds to smack the taste out of Belair's mouth. Oh, we're gonna talk about it. Going into Fastlane, Big E and Apollo had a ton of momentum. So how did it all go horribly wrong last night? Oh, we're gonna talk about it. Drew McIntyre clearly spent his entire Saturday night binge-watching Braveheart, Avatar, and the Smurfs movie. And last night at Fastlane, walked out looking as such. But hot damn! Did he and Sheamus, the big Irishman, go the distance or what last night? We're gonna talk about it. And the Fiend finally returns, looking like he jumped right out of a horror movie and into a wrestling ring. And whether you love the new look or not, the point is mute because the entire wrestling world is talking about his return. In that mask, bro! The detail! The creativity! Not only do I think he looks more badass than ever, but it's just so good to have Bray Wyatt back in WWE. Trust me when I say we're gonna talk about it. And Edge cost Daniel Bryan the Universal Championship and a trip to WrestleMania. Or did he? Oh, we're gonna talk about it. My Amplified unit. And any new subscribers jumping on board during today's video. This is the good, the bad, and the ugly of Fastlane 2021. I'll be your host, your reviewer, your residential lunatic for this video, BC Amplified. And it's all systems go. Red team, go! Hot damn! Alright, my Amplified unit, perhaps my favorite video of the month. We get to do a little bit of good, the bad, and the ugly, but these good, the bad, and the ugly reviews usually bring in a lot of new subscribers. So Amplified unit, my tried and trues, give me a minute to just inform newer subscribers of the rules, because you see, this isn't your grandmother's review. This isn't any other schmuck's review in the community where we just talk about the product, talk about the show, talk about the event, and give our opinions. No, we're gonna dissect this son of a bitch, and together we're gonna find out if this was good, bad, or ugly. The rules are simple. There's only 3. Number 1, every single match from the main show gets at least 1 tally in either the good, the bad, or the ugly column. Every match has to get at least 1 tally. On the main show only. We do not review pre-show or kickoff show matches. The reason for that is simple. If Vince McMahon isn't going to give a shit about the match, then why should we? Rule number 2, stay away from the ugly column, because at the end of this review, every single ugly tally will get crossed off and turn into 2 bads. That'll drastically change the outcome of deciding if this pay-per-view is good or bad. Stay away from the ugly column. It's my best advice. Rule number 3, only in the event of a tie will we go to the pre-show / kickoff show match. And that pre-show match, in this case, it was Ali versus Matt Riddle. Only if there is a tie from the main show will we go to the kickoff to decide if this was a good or bad pay-per-view. Those are the rules, man. Pretty cut and dry, pretty simple, pretty matter of fact. Now that we got the business side out of it, newer subscribers know the rules. We can dissect this son of a bitch. And we start with the women's tag title match. From the main show, tag champions Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler taking on Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, the challengers. Now the match time clocked in at exactly 10 minutes in length. The finish saw Shayna Baszler defeat Sasha Banks via the awe-inspiring, ultra-devastating Faroot roll-up. Yeah, we're kicking off the event with a simplistic roll-up. Something I cannot stand in professional wrestling because it is used and abused way too often. The simplistic fruit roll-up. Gone are the days where finishers used to decide a match. DDTs, tombstone pile drivers, even a leg drop. A press slam from the Ultimate Warrior. The flying elbow from Macho Man. Figure 4 leg lock, tapping a sumbitch out. No, it seems like half of the victories in today's wrestling are decided by the simplistic fruit roll-up. I can't stand them. That's a side rant. So we start the event with a roll-up. Shayna Baszler defeats your champion of SmackDown, Sasha Banks. Those damn fruit roll-ups, man. I tell ya. Now you're thinking, the nonsensical booking of this match alone, mixed with the finish of this match being so bad, you're thinking that's more than enough reason to put this sumbitch into the bad column. But not so fast. Even though it was only 10 minutes, it was actually okay. Number 1, the double team on Belair not allowing the tag to Sasha was done beautifully, and it's how it's supposed to be done in tag wrestling. Let it breathe. Build the suspense so that when that tag is made, it's a hot tag. I thought Bianca and Sasha, even Shayna and Nia, everybody played their role beautifully in making that hot tag to Sasha eventually occur. So that's number 1. Number 2, Sasha and Belair's offense was top-notch. In fact, Belair even hit a 450 splash. Top of the rope, a 450, and it was beautiful, and it was on the spot, kid. Beautifully done by Bianca Belair, man. Just beautiful. And number 3, post-match, the confrontation between Bianca and Sasha was so well done. Sasha not only blaming Bianca for the loss, but Sasha calling Bianca Belair a rookie. Sasha pushing Bianca's face away and then proceeding to slap the taste out of Bianca's mouth. And she laid into it. Stephanie McMahon would have been proud of that smack. I'm sure if Stephanie wasn't backstage giving congratulations to Sasha, she got a text message. Because Sasha laid in to Bianca in that slap, man. And Bianca just looks at the Mania sign, knows that that is where she will have her say. And she hopes it's the final say, the final laugh. I thought all that was done actually good, man. You're going to hear me in this review, most likely several times, say that X, Y, and Z finish didn't do anything to set up the future. Nothing for WrestleMania. This is one of the rare cases last night where this did do something to set up Mania. We don't need to see Sasha and Bianca in a tag team all the way to Mania. I'm glad they didn't win the tag titles last night, and this is a pro-Sasha channel. Most AMP unit members, we love Sasha Banks, This is not how you proceed with Sasha versus Bianca at Mania. So the fact that they are indeed over, and for the next several weeks leading to Mania, we get to just have this storyline where Sasha thinks she's the veteran and she feels that Bianca is the rookie, which in some cases is very true. You have a little Michael Jordan LeBron situation, which is what Sasha alluded to just last week, or within the last 2 weeks. I'm the Michael Jordan of the women's division. Don't worry, you can be the LeBron, she tells Bianca. Jordan, yeah, he's from the past era. LeBron, not a rookie by any means in NBA, but he's the new kid on the block in terms of Michael Jordan, the old school era. You kind of got a little bit of that at play. Sasha knows she's the best, but you got this young gal in Bianca who's ready to take the world by storm, who's ready to fill Sasha Banks' boots. But Sasha ain't ready. You're the rookie. Sit back. Watch the vet. Watch the real deal in action. Don't try to take my spot because you're going to fail. And Bianca's like, not only am I going to take it, I'm taking it at Mania. I'm taking it in a few weeks. I can go on and on. This is the story that should have been in their lap the entire time. We never needed to see a tag team out of these two. But it's over as of last night. Or it should be anyway. Now we can kick this into high gear. Bianca, Sasha, two huge egos. Wanting, needing to be the fucking best. This, surprisingly, because when it was all said and done, I saw more good than bad, this goes into the good column. So one match into this son of a bitch, we got a good. Can we keep that momentum? Unfortunately, we are about to take a drastic turn. Let's talk about it after a sip of coffee. All right, match number 2. This was the Intercontinental title match. Big E, your champion, taking on challenger Apollo Crews. Match time clocked in at just 6 minutes. 6 minutes for your championship match on a pay-per-view. And the finish saw one of the biggest botch, blunder, fuck up should have never been done's in all of pro wrestling when the ref literally does a 5 count. And not the cute cuddly 5 count that Big E used to do as part of his gimmick that was founded by the great late King Kong Bundy years before him. No, not that type of 5 count. This was just a blunder botch 5 count before declaring a winner off of an awe-inspiring, ultra-devastating fruit roll-up. 2 matches into this event. Just 2 matches, and we already have back-to-back 2 fruit roll-ups deciding the victor. You can't make this shit up, man. Vince McMahon, the old bastard in Stamford, Connecticut, definitely brought his utmost uber creativity for this one. Oh, I tell you, man, it sucks that this match has to go where it's about to go. Because the build has actually been pretty good for Big E and Apollo going into this match. And Big E and Apollo have been building their characters beautifully. Apollo's accent is even okay with me right now. I mean, he's really coming into his own with that shit, as far as using it in character-wise, story fashion. But this title match was only given 6 minutes. And the finish was atrocious. Forget the fact that it was a fruit roll-up. Bad enough. But what the fuck happened? The ref literally pinned Big E's shoulders down. If you watch the replay, his left shoulder was up, but the referee was in no position to even see that. So she just literally never broke her original count. If she thought Big E's shoulders were down, then you break the count if you did see his shoulder up. The referee just counted 5 straight counts, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then declares a winner. That's not how efficient... Listen, everybody is to blame here. I'm pretty sure that whoever booked this match, whatever agent was attached to this match, along with Big E and Apollo, they honestly felt like this could be a cool finish. Right? A way for the opponent, for Apollo, to save face. But it just didn't come off that way. So you have to place blame on Apollo, Big E, and the agent of the match. You also have to place blame on the referee. She made it look even more horrible. She never broke the count. I'm pretty sure she was just as confused as everybody else, though. So I'm not placing that much blame on her. Everybody gets a place or a piece of the blame pie. Everybody. The agent, Big E, Apollo, the referee, even the broadcasters, man. Who was it? Graves and Michael Cole, I believe, were hitting that match. They did not know what was going on. They were just as confused. They know it was bad. They know it was worse than bad. What's worse than bad? How can we describe this fucking match? 6 minutes for a championship match ending in a fruit roll-up, and they botched the fruit roll-up. What's a word to describe this? Oh yeah, that goes into the ugly column. And that, again, it pains me to say that, man. That sucks. Because this is one of the matches on this card where we were like, all right, good story going in. Both characters have momentum, and they keep building over the weeks. This could be pretty fucking good. You give them at least 15 minutes. You have something really cool that sets up their futures. We got the opposite. They didn't even give them half of 15. They gave them 6 minutes. They gave them a botch, hooky, odd, awkward, bullshit, befuddling finish. I'm trying to use every word that comes to mind. Top of the dome piece. Nobody knew what happened when this thing was done. You go back to this match, listen to the call from the commentary, and that tells you everything you need to know. When the commentary is befuddled, when you don't even have Vince McMahon screaming in your ear, because even Vince McMahon is befuddled, that's when you know you done fucked up. That goes into the... I think anybody who saw this event last night, anybody who saw this match specifically, you knew from the jump BC had no choice. Match time alone, when these two are building some of the best momentum out of the whole entire roster, match time alone, it was going into the bad. But you botch and you fuck up and you put out there a finish like that, brah, that's gotta be ugly. That's all the time I'm gonna spend on this. Moving on. After Simple Coffee. You know the deal. Ow, now before we move on to match number 3, guys, don't forget that ugly at the end of this review, it is going to have to be crossed off and turned into 2 bads. That's why I said at the jump of this video, at the start of this review, it's in the rule book, stay away from the uglies, because just like that, we started the event with a good, and then 1 match later, WWE is now playing catch-up. They're down 2-1, basically. 2 bads to 1 good. Because that ugly is going to turn into 2 bads at the end of this thing. That's why I try to stress. That's why I say it pains me to put an ugly into that column. Because I know what it does to the review. But there's times where I have no choice but to put it there. I pride myself. I pride this channel on being the most honest, most trustworthy, most full-throttle dissection of a pay-per-view or a pro wrestling event / show that you're going to get in the community. BC Amplified puts it on his shoulders to be the very best in the community. If I am not the very best, then I shouldn't be doing this. And sometimes you gotta place matches that you really had high hopes for, like Big E and Apollo, man. Sometimes you gotta, based on what actually occurred, how it was booked, and what actually happened, you gotta place it where you don't want to place it. So anyway, man, that will turn into 2 bads at the end of this thing. That sucks. Match number 3 on the card, Braun Strowman versus Elias, because that's exactly what we want to see on a pay-per-view. Said nobody ever. Match time for Braun Strowman and Elias clocked in at 4 minutes. That's probably for the best. Get this shit over with, please. The finish saw Strowman defeat Elias via a power slam. This was something you're supposed to see on a Raw or a SmackDown, not on a pay-per-view, brah. In fact, I wouldn't even personally want to see this on a Raw or a SmackDown, much less a pay-per-view. And it didn't even further Braun and Shane McMahon for WrestleMania. Braun just wins this match, and then struts off to catering to retrieve his cherry Capri Suns and chocolate chip cookies. Where's my Capri Suns? Who's got my Where's my lunchbox? I'm gonna destroy whoever has my lunchbox. Vince, you put it in Nicholas's bag. Where's Nicholas? Who's playing with Nicholas? Mysterio, get away from my friend Nicholas! Anyway, I don't know where I'm going with that. The bottom line is this did nothing for Mania. He wins, he walks up the ramp, he turns back to maybe Shane McMahon or Elias, whoever was still out there, because Shane was out there for a little bit. He's the one who said, oh, I'm injured, and Elias, you're gonna take my fucking spot. Was that supposed to be the progression to WrestleMania? And I don't even mind Shane McMahon, by the way. I'm not one of these cats that dog Shane McMahon every time he's out there. I'm not one of these dudes that says, Shane McMahon is taking somebody's spot at Mania. No, he's not. There's supposed to be 20 matches at Mania if you include pre-show and kickoff show matches. It's 2 nights, 8 to 10 matches per night. I got time for 10 minutes for Shane McMahon to do some Daredevil shit. That's probably going to be more entertaining than 95% of the show. So I don't even mind Shane McMahon. There's been 10 times Braun Strowman should have been something in this company. It looked like they were giving him a push, and then they reeled him back like he's a fucking trout in the ocean. Let's get this son of a bitch! Let's cook him! Let's fucking skin him and cook him! Ah! The Braun thought he was getting a push? The dumb idiot! He's going nowhere! And Vince just reels him in like trout in seawater, man. Just fucking reels him right back, and Braun's like, but I was getting a push! Stop dragging me back! 10 times we thought Braun was going somewhere in this company, and all of a sudden they just reel him back. They swipe the rug from underneath his feet, and the guy's a loser. He's almost like the Big Show. In fact, he's had a bunch of face heel turns already like the Big Show. You could put Kane in that category. My point is, I'm not even that hard on Braun and Shane, but this is not how you progress that, man. Elias just has a squash match, literally gets squashed, and Braun power walks back to his Capri Suns. This does nothing. I'm being generous by not putting this with Biggie and Apollo in the botch there in the ugly column. I'm gonna put this into the bad column. Because at least they spared us and got this done with in 4 minutes. Again, unapologetically, this goes into the bad column. Moving on to match number 4. This is Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura. This is a prime example of why putting on 3 pay-per-views in 7 weeks. Within 7 weeks, 3 pay-per-views. Elimination Chamber, Fastlane, WrestleMania. And not just any 3 pay-per-views. Your biggest show of the year is just one of 3. That's why it's less significant in people's minds this year. That's why nobody cares about WrestleMania this year. You're literally packaging it as one of 3. And this is what happens when you book 3 pay-per-views within 7 weeks, which is unacceptable. Because now you rush book meaningless matches like Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Because that's what this was. Meaningless! Shinsuke attacked Rollins Friday night, and then 2 nights later, it's a match on a pay-per-view? One attack is all it takes to get on a pay-per-view. Do you guys remember when pay-per-views used to matter? They used to have meaning. Feuds were built up over time, and you had to see this hugely marketed contest at the pay-per-view. Now you attack somebody just once, and it's on the pay-per-view 2 nights later. So not only is there no build, but they're rushing pay-per-views at you. No hype. No care. Most people most likely had no idea that there was even a pay-per-view last night. And now you see why. They had no card ironed out. Friday night on SmackDown, they were just like, oh, Cesaro used to tag team with Shinsuke a little bit, didn't he? So because we want Cesaro and Rollins at Mania, let's have Shinsuke attack Rollins, and that'll give us a pay-per-view match in 2 nights. And that's what they did. And then you wonder why nobody cared about this fucking match? This is not how pay-per-views should feel, damn it. They should feel important. They should feel special. Shinsuke attacks him once, and it's a pay-per-view beef all of a sudden. This was a 14-minute match. Now, the match was actually good. Obviously, it's Rollins and Shinsuke. We've seen this plenty of times in the fucking past. That's how we knew it was going to be good. On their worst day, it's still going to be better than most matches from others. So the match was good. So that is going to equal that out with the bad booking of the match. All of my rant that I just went through, the bad in it, it was at least a good match. So the bad and the good here, the bad booking, but the good match equals out. They cross each other out. So we're basically at an even slate in the finish is going to decide what column this match goes into. If it's a fun finish, a finish that furthers Cesaro and Rollins for Mania somehow, then this goes into the good easily. But that's not what happened at all. Rollins just defeats Nakamura with a stomp. And that was it. Literally, that was it. Nothing happened afterwards. Rollins just defeats Nakamura with a stomp. What the fuck? Was it totally necessary to put Shinsuke on this show just to eat a nonsensical L? Of course not. That's rhetorical. And it does nothing for Seth Rollins and Cesaro for WrestleMania. Literally nothing. This did nothing. Nothing furthered it. This was just a match to have Shinsuke eat an L. And some fucking person that accepts everything Vince throws at him and sits there with a wooden spoon and wooden bowl, basically pleading and begging, please sir, can I have some more? And Vince is like, of course, I have plenty of bullshit to go around. There's people that accept Vince's bullshit and they're like, no, this makes sense because Shinsuke used to tag with Cesaro. And Shinsuke's pissed off that Seth is being mean to Cesaro. But storyline-wise, that's not what they've been telling. They literally just broke them up and they went their own ways. They weren't even friends after that. They literally had them go their separate ways. Now all of a sudden, Shinsuke is defending his friend's honor. That's not the story that was told. And even if it was, even if they decided to go that way, they rushed it so fucking pathetically that they only had 2 nights from the attack and the match itself. I hope this makes some fucking sense. I know I'm one of those rare individuals in this community that reviews pro wrestling that actually speaks with logic and common sense. Forgive me that I'm not dumbing down my level of common sense and my levels of logic. I refuse to dumb myself down to appease the masses. No, I see exactly what's going on here. They're rush booking because they're rushing pay-per-view after pay-per-view after pay-per-view. Fastlane needs to go. If you're going to have Elimination Chamber between the Rumble and Mania, that's more than enough. I don't even want to see that. It should be Rumble right to Mania. You have 3 months from the Rumble to build an awesome Mania card. Elimination Chamber just muddies the water. Adding Fastlane to the mix just blurs the lines even more. It's pathetic. Anyway, Rollins, Nakamura with nothing furthering any storyline for WrestleMania and Nakamura just eating a fucking nonsensical L. This obviously goes into the bad column. And just like that, after 4 matches, because that ugly is eventually going to get crossed off in the 2 bads. Just like that, man. You have 4, what's going to be anyway, after that ugly gets crossed out, 4 bads to 1 good. That means unless the next 3 matches go good, the best WWE can do right now with this pay-per-view, on this review anyway, is get a tie. And then we would have to go over to Ali and Matt Riddle. That's the best they can do on this show is get a tie. Can they run the gauntlet the rest of the 3 matches? Let's find out right now, man. Let's go into match number, what are we going into? Match number 5. Sweet coffee, thank you. Actually, let me get another one. I'm gonna need it for this McIntyre Sheamus match. You're gonna get a Claymore! Welcome to the Claymore party, Sheamus! Oh, mate, you don't understand. You're gonna get a bro kick, mate. That's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get a bro kick, fella. Not mate. What is mate? Fucking, was that Australian? What is the... Fella! No, you're gonna get a Claymore. You don't understand. I love you. You're like a brother, Sheamus. But I gotta give you a Claymore. No, fella. You're gonna get a bro kick. I'm telling you. You're getting a bro kick. No, it's gonna be a Claymore. In fact, a Claymore party. No, fella. It's gonna be a bro kick party. A bro kick party. Yeah, a bro kick party. No, a Claymore party. You're gonna get a party. It's gonna be a Claymore one. No, fella, trust me. It's gonna be a bro kick. Sorry, guys, the coffee's kicking in now. Anyway, match number 5, as if you couldn't tell. Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus. Bro kick versus Claymore, right? Match time clocked in at 19 minutes. There you go. That's what I want to see, man. It's a pay-per-view. Give me like 20 minutes. Every match on a pay-per-view should be at least 20 fucking minutes. Unexcusable to have anything other than. 19-minute match is what this clocked in at. The finish saw Drew McIntyre defeat Sheamus via the Claymore. It wasn't a Claymore party, but it was a Claymore. And Sheamus could not reach or not get his shoulder up from the count of 3. So Drew McIntyre wins this match, and he's on his way to WrestleMania to take that title from Bob Lashley. McIntyre looked like he just auditioned for the next Avatar movie as the Na'vi, or he tapped into his inner Braveheart fandom, or was just rejected from the Blue Man Group. Or maybe he partied a little too hard with Papa Smurf and the Smurfettes. I could do this all day long. But Drew McIntyre had his face plastered in blue paint. It took me a minute to get used to it, but I do have to admit, after about 5-6 minutes, I'm like, hey, at least it's a character, you know? I mean, I grew up watching wrestlers with their face painted like the Ultimate Warrior or the Road Warriors, Legion of Doom, Animal and Hawk, and so many others would just have their face painted up. Demolition. And I used to love that, man. Especially as a kid, it really draws you in. But with the sword, the kilt, the face paint, every week it's something new with this guy. He's adding all these layers. I don't know if this is going to be a permanent thing or he just knew he was going to war with Sheamus, but he literally tapped into his inner Braveheart. Who was that? Mel Gibson, I believe. The match itself was contested as a no-holds-barred match, and it was just as good as their no DQ match just 2 weeks ago on the March 8th episode of Raw. You guys know I was really high on that match 2 weeks ago. It was a no DQ match, and that should have been the main event, easily. And I said then that could have easily been a main event at a pay-per-view. Well, I'm saying the same thing on this one. With more of a build and maybe a title on the line, this match last night could have easily been a main event on a pay-per-view. Once again, these two brutes, just like 2 weeks ago, just beat the how you doing out of one another. They have had some of the best wars I've seen in a while in pro wrestling. Some of the best wars easily. This goes into the good. There's nothing more I need to say about it. No more I need to sell. If you haven't seen the match, go check it out. They just beat the shit out of each other. They went almost 20 minutes. The right decision, I feel, was made at the end. I didn't see any bad with this. Did they progress anything with Bobby Lashley? No. I would have loved to have seen something happen that pushed Bobby and McIntyre a little bit more, but they just had the war, McIntyre's hand gets raised, and then they just eluded that Bobby Lashley is next. But I'm not going to hold that against them because everything else was good. This goes into the good column. Good shit. It's good shit. Match number 6, Randy Orton versus Alexa Bliss. Nobody was expecting an actual intergender match here, so anybody who's pissed off because they didn't actually wrestle, you don't understand the business, and you're just, you didn't know what was going on. You know, I feel bad for you. You know, they were never going to fight. This was always supposed to be some theatrics to get the Fiend back. And I absolutely loved everything about this. Bray Wyatt is a genius. Alexa Bliss is on fire, literally and figuratively, with this new character. And Randy Orton is the perfect centerpiece for any feud. So I was on board from the jump. All they had to do last night was deliver to us the Fiend. The Fiend needed to return. And that's what they did, and that's what he did. He came back last night, man. I love how Alexa had the firewall, the fireball, and even a lighting fixture above Randy Orton, all in play here. Alexa was pulling out all the stops, man. Some Stranger Things 11 type shit. Anybody who watches Stranger Things, you know I'm high on that. I love it. you got a little bit of that with these characters, and I was just, oh man. Randy is playing his character beautifully. Alexa playing it beautifully. And then the Fiend's hand comes up through the apron, and it looks decrepit, as if, oh, I don't know, he was burned alive 3 months ago? Then we see the Fiend's new mask and new look, and this is something straight out of a Wes Craven horror flick. It was beautifully done, man. I love this look. The time, the effort, the detail, the creativity that went into that mask. And Bray Wyatt just plays it off beautifully, man. Sister Abigail by the Fiend, and Alexa picks up the W. And the way she pinned Randy down and out. The Fiend standing behind her. I almost gave this 2 goods, which would be a great. Everyone says BC, why don't you have a great column? And I always say it's because BC always gives you guys the very best. WWE rarely to never does anything great anymore. They just don't, or it's once in a blue moon. So they don't do enough great shit on their television shows or pay-per-views to warrant their own column of great. But whenever something is great, I usually give them 2 goods. I almost gave this 2 goods. The only reason I didn't is because I needed more from the Fiend onto Orton, offense-wise. Like, this dude burned you alive 3 months ago. You waited all this time, you are finally back, and all you gave him was a Sister Abigail? I would have thought it would be cool if he dragged him back underneath the ring. Like, because he came through the ring. Drag him back through the ring. And all the smoke. Old school Undertaker type shit. We used to see it. But you could do it in a much more fiendish way. Bottom line, I needed a bit more offense because you waited 3 months to get this dude. You got him. And all they did was a Sister Abigail, and it's almost like, oh, this is just about wins and losses all of a sudden? The Fiend's character is about so much more than that, I thought. So that's the only reason it didn't get 2. But for my own personal reasons, because I love Bray Wyatt, his character with the Fiend. I love his creative genius. I'm loving Alexa Bliss and Randy Orton and their storyline. I'm loving everything. So personally, I would give this a personal great. But review-wise, I gotta stay true and consistent and fair. So this gets 1 good. But it does go into the good column, man. So after McIntyre and Sheamus in match number 5 and match number 6 with Orton and Alexa and the Fiend returning, a little bit of a streak. We're on the comeback here. With 1 match left, after you cross out that ugly, it's basically 4-3. Currently, it is a bad pay-per-view, but can the main event deliver and tie this son of a bitch up so we can get to the pre-show match between Ali and Matt Riddle and let that decide if this was good or bad? Let's find out together right now, man, because the main event was next. Match number 7 on the card. Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan. Universal title on the line, Edge Special Enforcer. Match clocked in at 30 minutes. That's right, a half an hour. That's a pay-per-view match. That's a main event. 30 minutes. Very slow first 15 minutes, by the way. Very slow. The first 15, I was thinking, man, this is the match people want to see at WrestleMania. Some people honestly want to see Daniel Bryan and Roman. I'm like, this is not hitting, bruh. The last 15 minutes, bro. Potential Marty. Potential match of the year candidate, bro. Overbooked? You bet. And I loved it. I love overbooking. Same thing I say over in AEW when Cody overbooks a ton of his matches. I love that shit. Shows you care. So yeah, it was overbooked. I loved it. Ref is knocked out. Edge is now the official. Jey Uso takes out Edge. Daniel Bryan inadvertently hits Edge with a steel chair. D-Bry then taps Roman out, but Edge instead wallops D-Bry with a retaliating chair shot, and then Edge also hits Roman with the same chair. And then another shot to D-Bry, just for good measure. And then Edge basically just snaps. He starts yelling out, this doesn't even matter! It's all about me! It's my time! So Edge is flipping out. Edge finally leaves, and a new ref hits the ring. Roman simply pins D-Bry from that second chair shot that Edge gave. I would have loved to have seen a little bit more. I just think that 1 extra chair shot should not have put Daniel Bryan out. Not after a half an hour. So I would have done a little bit more at the finish. But Roman pins D-Bry. That's the right scenario, obviously. And so Roman wins this match, retains his championship. Hopefully they keep this Mania main event, Roman versus Edge, just one-on-one. But it looks like they could still easily go with a triple threat, as it's set up as such, unfortunately. That's just the case. It looks like they can even, right? You even had Roman tapping out to Daniel Bryan last night, but Edge didn't count it. So they could use that to insert D-Bry. It looks like that's where they're going. I hope not. Three's a crowd. I don't need to see Daniel Bryan muddy the waters here. This is sitting in their lap. This is a kick-ass main event. Edge, Roman, there's still a few SmackDowns to go before Mania to set this up even better. Let them have promos, build up the story some more. Edge versus Roman one-on-one is going to be fucking ultimate. You add Daniel Bryan in, and I assure you, this dude is just going to be the middleman. He's just there to, like, take the pin or some shit. And it takes the steam away from Edge and Roman. I can't stand these triple threat, fatal four-way, all of these schmaz matches, they're unneeded. It's muddy booking, and I don't like it. So we'll see what they decide to go with, man. I put this match, obviously, a half an hour, especially the last 15 minutes. They went to war. They overbooked it. They put some care into this son of a bitch. I thought everybody was used beautifully, especially how they did utilize Edge. I would have done a little different with him, but can't complain. Keeps him and Roman alive, and if they do want to go Daniel Bryan, that was the way to go about it. You know, they definitely protected themselves if they do want to make it a triple threat. So this goes into the good column. So just like that, guys, we got 4 in the good, 2 bad, 1 ugly. The ugly gets crossed off. That turns into 2 bad, so it's 4-4. We don't know if this is good or bad. We gotta go now to the kickoff show, because that's rule number 3 in the rule book, man, for the good, the bad, and the ugly. In the case of a tiebreaker, we go to the pre-show. This was Matt Riddle versus Ali, U.S. title. Riddle wins in a damn solid match. But the deciding factor here is what happened post-match. Retribution is over. I'm going to say that again and louder for those in the back, because we've been waiting months for this. Since they've arrived in WWE, we've been waiting for these words. Retribution is over. Done. They're done. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Mason T-Bar double choke slam Ali, because afterwards, when Ali lost his match, he blamed Retribution. So they've had enough finally. Mia Yim, all them, man, they walked off. And T-Bar and Mace, that's right, I'm finally going to call them their names, because hopefully we can get Dijakovic back. Call the other dude Madden. I don't care what you call I just need Dijakovic back. Lose the fucking masks. But they double choke slammed Ali, man. We've been waiting for that. Retribution is done. That alone goes into the good column. So that is your deciding factor. Because WWE decided to pull the trig and have Retribution dismantled last night, that is the one sole effect that pushed this pay-per-view over the limit to good status. This ends up being a good event. Just barely. But good nonetheless. There was absolutely bad. There was even ugly last night, guys. There was some uneventful shit. The whole event is not needed. Trust me. But when you look, if I'm going to review this fairly, you look at the interaction between Sasha and Bianca last night. That's how you build a storyline. You look at the matches that they put on last night between Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. The match between Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. We even got a return, whether you like him or not, whether you think his new look is cool or not, doesn't matter. You got the return of the Fiend, which has been highly awaited and anticipated in the talk of the wrestling world. There was enough good last night that just barely tipped this over. You know, we like to be too cynical and overly negative all the time, because WWE is usually pretty shitty. So the second an event gets over, whether you really take the time to dissect it or not, we're automatically just going, it was shit. It sucked. And you're kind of right. But when you really go over it, man, and you dissect this event as a whole, we just did it together. And barely, but it did. go into the good column, man. So this pay-per-view, as shitty and poorly as it's been booked, and as nonsensical as the whole event has been from the jump, they were able to do enough good last night to keep at least BC entertained for the most part. So let me know what you guys thought about it, man, and how you guys had it on the scorecards. BC Amplified, thank you for joining yours truly for this Good, the Bad, and the Ugly review show. Thank you, new subscribers, for coming aboard, man, smashing that subscription button and being a part of the Amplified unit. And for my tried and trues, you guys know you're the very fucking best. Keep whooping that ass, as we're gonna do right now for the rest of this Monday until we get to Raw tonight, and then tomorrow right here on this channel, we're gonna do it all again. The Amplified Man and his AMP unit. I almost said his Red Team Go unit. I guess we could say that too. We gonna whoop that ass. Coffees and ass whoopings. Check you later. WrestleMania time, finally. Watch McMahon surprise us with another pay-per-view next week. You thought we were going to WrestleMania? No! Now we're going to Chaos at Costco! A 2-night event next weekend! Wouldn't put it past this dude. Check you later!